One more thing before we move on to the post is that because this is promise-based, so we've got the then, this is everything that happens within the then, we could pull this out and have this as a separate function as well, so it'd look a lot cleaner and neater. You can also do catch. So catch gives you the ability to catch if there's any errors. So you can do something like catch error and then console log out that error. And this, of course, is really useful. So let's say, for instance, we get the wrong URL and we hit submit. We see that we're outputting that network error because that one's actually not coming through. And of course, we can always look at our network and we can see what happened here as well. So XHR, because this is an XHR request, so it's not fetch. Even though it looks like fetch, it is XHR. And we can see that it's failed. And I know this is, could make it a little bit smaller. We can see that it failed. So we've got information there as well. We don't need catch, but if we want to do something for the user in case it fails, then of course we could output that there. So that's always very useful and very important to keep in mind that when you do have some problems there, that you do have an option to update them and do something for the user. So next, let's look at post. So we already set up a lot of the form that we need for post. So let's set a variable for the my data. We also need that URL. So this is that simple endpoint that we've been using in some of the earlier lessons as well. So it simply just returns our request as JSON. And one thing I did want to note here as well, so depending on what your server is, it may receive data in different formats. So you might be okay with sending it within an object or stringified object. So you could do that JSON, stringify, and stringify your object. But in this case, we're expecting similar to the post and get requests. So we need to separate it out with an equal sign, the value, and then the next item there as well. So if we keep it within this same structure, so we set up the my data. Let me set that variable up. So my data, we'll console log out that data. So console log data. Now let's try this out. So again, simulating doing a post, we see the typical XHR object response there. So we've got our request, we've got our data information. So this is coming back within that same format. So we know that we want to see only the data. And of course, if we needed to see the other object values, we can use those as well. So there we go. So we've got our data that's being submitted. So next, all we need to do is update the structure of this. So let's do that now as well. So build it out directly in here. There's a number of ways to get the data. So this is customized for this endpoint. And we just need to get those values. So a number of different ways. Let's do this format. So we'll do document, query selector, and we're going to grab the element. So we'll grab the input that has a name, and we'll do the same thing for last as well. And let's get that value back. That's the first, and let's do the same thing for last. And then we've just got them in as variables, and we can simply drop them into our request there. So last, and over here, let's update this to first plus, and then get rid of this value that's in there, plus last. And always keep in mind that this is customized for this endpoint. Again, you might be picking up the data in different formats. So now when we update our data, we get that data being sent to the server, does the round trip, and sent back. So this is all done in Axios. And again, really simple promise-based type AJAX requests. It's really easy to read through it and understand where you can do the functionality, and then of course the error log there to catch any errors. So go ahead and try this out for yourself, and of course try it out on your own servers with your own different endpoints, picking up that data that you're passing in, and make use of that data within your server.